What's up, everybody? Matt Nuzzo, we're here at Reel to talk to you about the new Slingshot High Roller. So this board is like an absolute spaceship just landed in the shop. I had to actually call Tony Lagauche, the designer, and Coleman Buckley, the guy who did the prototypes of this, to just say, like, dude, what's going on? I've been foiling for a while, and I have not seen any of these design characteristics in other boards. So I want to give you a little design brief, kind of tell you what it is, just kind of first impression of what this board is. First and foremost, like, this thing looks great. I'm holding the 4.6 right here. It's lightweight, it's about 7.5 pounds. Which is lightweight for a production board. Most production boards are going to be a lot heavier. This is carbon EPS construction, so they've been able to lighten it up, still make a production board, and it definitely has some design characteristics that are quite a bit different than what else is out there. So just looking at this board, it comes in a 4.0, 4.6, and a 5.2. The 4.0 is going to be 29 liters. 4.6, this one here is 32 liters, and then the 5.2 is 39 liters. So it got a bunch of volume for a board. And you know, why are the foil surfboards going so small? Is that once you become an intermediate or better foil surfer, you want to have the smallest board you can catch a wave with, because the smaller the board, the more, you know, basically the easier it is to turn, the less swing weight you have, and much easier to pump. So you know, we found that kind of below 4.0, it's like diminishing returns. And then you just size it to your weight. I'm like 170 pounds. I'm riding the 4.6. You know, be right for kind of small waves. I could go down to the 4.0, could go up to the 5.2, but 4.6 is kind of hitting that sweet spot in volume for me. So let's just talk about the features and what's going on. So first and foremost, when you look at this board, a lot of the magic in the board is in this rail. They call it the S rail. And the goal of this board is to reduce the amount of wetted surface as quick as possible. Okay, so when you look at this board, it's got this big S-shaped rail. When I look at these chined rails, that chined rail's also got a big concave in it. Okay, so concave on a board, like on a surfboard, creates lift. So concave on the rail of the board is also going to create lift. So the board, before you get on foil, as soon as you get that forward momentum, it starts to create lift, and the goal is to reduce the amount of wetted surface and reduce the amount of drag. So this is creating lift, the concave chined rail, but then the S curve where it comes back down and comes in, that actually, again, as you get to that next level, it bumps you up and it forces the board out of the water. Finally reduce that suction. They put this little step tail down here. So this is going to reduce the amount of wetted surface, so that when you know, again, when that thing is about to take off, you're not going to have any suction, and it just is going to pop right off of the water for you. Different than some of the other boards, they've got a thinner, smaller tail block, and they said because of this S curve, you're basically able to get that push and that little extra oomph from the wave from the S curve on the rail and the rail shape, so you can reduce the tail shape, and by reduce the tail volume. By reducing the tail volume, it's going to give you better performance and better feel on your back foot, but it's also going to allow you to really hike that board over. So number two thing of those chined rails is that when you hike this board over, you can really rail it out. Okay, so the tail isn't going to stick because you've got all this reduced volume out here, and also that huge chined rail, so you can put that board crazy on rail and get super low, so you can make some really radical tight turns on this board. Another couple things to look at on this board is the giant concave. You know, when I look down this board, you got a huge concave, and a lot of that is due to the S rail that they put out here, right? So without this extended rail, you wouldn't have that giant concave. And in talking to Coleman, he's like, you know, with a lot of these smaller boards, you know, when you're paddling, you've got a lot of water just, you know, streaming across the board and across your body. It's creating drag, right? So when your body is in this concave, and it's basically the water's coming over the top and pushing off, and it's not coming up underneath the rails here. It's not attaching to your body as your body passes the water. That concave also allows you to set deeper, just gives you a nice, more natural feel, because sometimes the foil kind of leans over a little aside, and you know, it takes a little while to come back, so it just keeps you balanced in the center of the board. So reducing the wetted surface again, and keeping your balance side to side. Look here at the nose, you've got a bunch of foam and volume right up here, okay? Having that heavier foam and amount of volume up here is going to allow you to actually get that takeoff and glide in a real small, mushy wave. Down the center, you've got a small spine through the center here. And the spine goes all the way down to about here. And again, if you're coming back down and touching down, it's not going to connect and stick. It's going to pop right back up and come right out of the water. When you look at the bottom shape on this board, that thing is pretty flat. You know, you've got a lot of flatness, and then again, the rocker line through the middle here, you know, it's like crazy flat rocker line all the way through here. And the brake on the nose kind of just starts coming up here where you've got more pronounced double concave. So you can see here, pronounced double concave through here, but then again, it's pretty flat through the back here. So that's going to help you paddle. Again, it's only 4.6, so it's not going to paddle that well. But anyone that foil surfs knows that you know, paddling one of these boards takes a little time to get used to. Once you get used to it, you can kind of out paddle a lot of people out there once you get used to the board, where to go and how to make that work. Finally, the downturn. I was looking at this downturn on the tail here, and it's not really a downturn. It's just that this chine rail comes up. If you went through the middle of the deck here, it's actually quite flat. The deck, because you're using a lot of it, is quite flat almost to the nose. So it gives you a lot of deck space. It makes will make the sweet spot really big all over on the deck here. They did a good job putting a nice tail pad on there already. Good kick tail on it. Double leash plug, which I think it's kind of overkill having a double leash plug on a foil board because you're not really getting a lot of pull from the foil when you're using your leash. And then the track system, it does come with your mounting hardware in there. Track system's pretty standard, pretty typical. So really easy to make sure you adjust and move around. So that's the first look at the high roller. Really pumped about this board. It's going to be awesome. Can't wait to get out there and give it a rip. We will be reviewing it with our team riders and come back to realwatersports.com. We're going to have more reviews once we've gotten on the water, more footage of this board. We were so excited about this board. We want to get it out there and get it to you people as soon as we could. So if you have any more questions, give us a call, 252-987-6000.